productive and educative visit to the training institutes. Is it so?
Yes.
What are your comments from this side? From Sri Lanka, Turkey. पता करो कि टर्की के डरे. From Qatar, Malaysia, Oman. Are you satisfied with the visit? Some chairs are still empty. Where are our foreign delegates? पता करो भाई जरा जल्दी से.
Rating is 5 stars. That means
Cha-
not only the good, but also I think 5-star rating performance we had. And I congratulate you
What are-
for such arrangement.
What are the views of Chinese friends?
Very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Ram Hari, you already have visited both these institutes. Thank you. Iran, our friend from Iran. Okay. बस ठीक है. ये क्यों लगा रहे?
ये सर एमकॉम की तरफ से.
अच्छा, ओके. बस ठीक है. Well, yesterday, the whole day it was one-way traffic. You had to listen to the speeches and talks of the speakers. And in a way you became victim of listening to whatever was being told and whatever being uttered by the speakers. And you were not allowed, you were not given opportunity to ask questions. Question answer sessions were deleted because of the time constraint. And I must apologize for that. But today, we'll offer you the remedy for yesterday. And this session is going to be a very, very interactive session. Everybody, each one of you would be required to participate, fully participate, and express his or her views about the topics. We are going to hold group discussions, plenary sessions. There would be 4 groups, and you would be divided into 4 different groups. There are 4 different topics, and you'll have to give your input and views about the topic and the theme. And finally, your recommendations would be formulated and they would be submitted to the government. And these would be very important recommendations, because you should keep it in view that in the light of your recommendations, not only the government of Pakistan, but many governments would ultimately formulate their policies. And the organizations like NAVTEC, they would also take your recommendations as guidelines. So your recommendations would be very important. Each group would consist of a few foreign delegates plus a few members of the from the local industry and training providers. They would also join you, so that you should have different perspective. And we have one moderator for each group. I would call upon now the moderator of group 1, Ms. Hina Fawzia. Please come on the stage. The topic for Group 1 is Industry Engagement for Effective TVET Delivery, Obstacles and Opportunities. Because the overall theme is also the industry's engagement to enhance growth and employability. How we can how we can enhance industry's engagement, because the ultimate objective is to enhance growth and also employability of our youth. So you have to discuss and examine this subject from different angles, and finally you have to submit your recommendations. Now Ms. Hina would announce the names of Group 1 and their respective room where they have to go and sit and discuss. Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, now members of the foreign delegates for Group 1, I'll announce their names and I would request them to please come near the stage so that we together can go to the respective room.
Right side.
On the right side, please. Okay, Dr. Adam from Australia. Dr. Adam, is he here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Craig, again from Australia. And Mr. Valery from Belarus. Mr. Hassan Jafri from Iran. Is he around?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Wang Fei from China. He will come. Okay. Mr. Zhong Yuan. Okay. And Dr. Carsten from Germany. Dr. Carsten is not here? Okay. Now, from the local members, I would request Mr. Shahid Rafiq from Habib Rafiq. Okay. Mr. Babar Aman, Secretary PND, GB. Mr. Abdur Rahim, DG NAF TTC. Okay. Mr. Salim, Principal Sanatzar Faisalabad. Chaudhry Rashid, Principal GVT Mirpur. Ms. Falahat Imran, President WCCI. Ms. Kaisara Sheikh, Senior Vice President WCCI. Thank you. We will go in conference room 1 and I'll just take you there myself.
Thank you. अब ले जाएं, ले जाएं। बस ठीक है, अब रोको ना। So you take them to the room number. चल, उधर से चले, पिछले साइड। वो उन्होंने अनाउंस भी कर दिया है। फिर पढ़ दें। हाँ, ये आप स्क्रीन पे भी पढ़ सकते हैं। Now the moderator for Group 2 is Qazi Fareed. Please come on the stage. And the topic is Enhancing Employability through Industrial Linkages. This is overall theme, but they also have to discuss issues and challenges. Not only issues and challenges, but the remedies and solutions also. Please announce the names of Group 2.
Thank you, Idi Saab. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. As announced by Idi Saab, the theme is enhancing employability through industry linkages. I will just call upon the names for the foreign representatives. Mr. Peter Coleman from Australia. May I request you to please assemble on the right side so that we can move along. Engineer Inam al-Haq from Bangladesh. Please, towards the right. Chen Ziao from China. Ms. Kiao Xion from China. Mr. Ramahari Lamachani from the Dr. Ramahari from the Philippines. Mr. Rajab Altan from Turkey. Mr. Khalid Nawaz from the United Arab Emirates.
Ms. Sonia is the coordinator for Group 3. And the topic is Industry's Role in Training and Placement, Gaps and Solutions. Please call upon the names of first foreign delegates.
Mr. Kenneth Henry from Ireland. Mr. Kenneth from Kazakhstan, Mr. Badr from Kuwait, Ms. Zanaria bint Ahmed from Malaysia, Mr. Teghh Bahadur from Nepal, Mr. Hamoud from Oman, Mr. Ali from Oman, Mr. Amir from Saudi Arabia, Ms. Nalanti from Sri Lanka, Mrs. Malakanti from Sri Lanka. Okay. Now I would call upon the local delegation, Mia Wakas, Mr. Naeem Siddiqui, DG NAFTA TC, Professor Dr. Bhai Khan, Shaukat Saab from GCD Faisalabad, Mr. Usman Liaquat, and Ms. Quratulain from Itham.
And the topic for this group is successful implementation of apprenticeship system, impediments and way forward. Please announce the names of.
Okay, this group will.
Ek second. Can all foreign delegates who are present here in this hall, please come and join group 4.
Shaban Khalid, Nasir Khan, Director General, NAFTEC, Fahim Ahmed, representative from Itham, Lahore, and Samad Hashim Sahab, okay, Vice Principal, and a representative from GILT Gujranwala. You are okay. Abid Mubashir, Hafiz Abbasi.
We had the foreign delegates and the people from Pakistan as well. Can you go on to the next slide, please? Okay, so initially we did a bit of situation analysis. There were some common grounds which we picked up and we have tried to reflect here. So one thing which popped up again and again was that talking about any region, there is a trust deficit between the academia, that is the training provider, and the industry. And when we looked into the grassroots, the root causes of this trust deficit, we found out that actually the systems are there, but there is a strong lack of awareness. What is already available for the industry and the academia both has a win-win situation. Industry is not that much well aware or well acquainted with the facts. The next situation analysis which we did was that there is a strong ambiguity in the roles and responsibilities of both parties, as well as the opportunities which are out there, but they don't know. Then we also talked about the legal framework or the mechanisms, what is the current shape and how it is looked at and how it is being implemented. For example, there was a very good example of the apprenticeship law. So the revised apprenticeship law is having a good fruit for the industry as well. But since there is an ambiguous idea regarding the apprenticeship thing, the industry is still reluctant to opt for it. A very true picture of the Pakistan scenario and probably also the other regions, TVET is basically opted as a last option. And there is a strong informal sector. By informal sector, we mean that usually industry takes a helper, trains the helper on their shop floor, and then, that's how they get their skilled manpower. Okay. Now, we tried to formulate some recommendations as well. Can you please move on to the next slide? Okay, so the first and the foremost was that awareness of the existing incentives of the industry. We need to tell the industry that there's a lot for you. Above all, you will be able to retain the well-trained skilled manpower with you if you go through the formal TVET training. Formalize the existing training system of industry through partnership for joint learning processes. I would just quickly clarify this, that for example, at the moment, those teachers which belong to the industry or work on the shop floor of the industry, they usually don't take part in imparting the TVET training. So it has to be a joint learning process, equally participated by both the industry and the academia. Then the partnership for the learning process, we consider it as a sustainable model for the industry. We thought that instead of going in big reforms, we should pilot small successful models and then we should replicate them at a large scale. There should be very clear-cut incentive for the industry so that we can mobilize the industry engagement, and one of them, as you all know, that it's a lot talked about, is the tax relaxations for the industry if they come and play their role to train the youth. And we also think that there should be a centralized database of supply and demand in TVET, and we should have a focus on the current demand-driven programs with futuristic model for identification of skills. And last but not the least, the focus on industrial consultation and industrial state for identification of skills and on-the-spot trainings. So these were just few of the recommendations we were able to jot down collectively as Group 1. Thank you very much.
The concept of enhancing employability through industry linkages, and I think we dilated on vocational counseling, job placement as the entry point where the demand and supply side gets balanced out. So if people know, if the institute knows what the industry needs, they will train relevant people. Having said that, we kind of then further elaborated on industry participation in design of course and curricula. And in that there was unanimous agreement that students should be trained according to standards that the industry is implementing. And that led to access of students to research and development and innovation, and then kind of vocational counseling, job placement, and further leading to on-the-job training and apprenticeship. That came up as a recommendation. In addition to that, I explained to the group how we in Pakistan were managing industry institute linkages at micro, macro and meso level, and the modes of engagement, formal, informal, and kind of more sort of firmed up commitments legislatively were discussed. The group felt that more legislative inputs into formalizing the modes of engagement between industry, institute, academia perhaps have to be sorted out in the current global perspective. Then the industry kind of felt that this facilitation on their part to bring trainees and to assign teachers for assessment and for training from the industry or from the shop floor should be accompanied by incentives. Perhaps tax rebates, incentives to the industry would also be an encouraging factor. And then of course it was also debated upon that not every country or every region could look at 100% employability. So skills, trades that would lead to entrepreneurship and self-employment would be also factored in our TVET skills planning. Data management was discussed, and in data management we reflected upon the fact that both the data of supply, demand, relevant sectors and trades of economy, the current state of affairs in a particular region or country where industry from one angle to the other is shifting, moving. For instance, an example of CPEC was quoted that perhaps the country should be prepared for more CPEC specific initiatives that its youth or its workforce could benefit from. These kind of, were the highlights of our discussion. In addition to that, we kind of reflected on sort of industry not having a say in policy planning. This was a point that was raised. And I think on a more systemic level, as I interpret that, it was felt that the industry on a more systemic level should be allowed to give inputs to kind of ensure transparent, adequate, and beneficial legislative means and mechanisms. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much. My name is Nanyana Siddiqui, and I'm representing industry sector in a very niche and a very important energy sector, that is renewable energy. A question that you discussed where incentives about taxations and etc. should be given to industries. But I understand, what about enforcement from the government sector agency? For example, Pakistan Engineering Council making it mandatory for organizations to organize apprentices, at least a minimum number of apprentices program. I understand that was part of the Nabubulak idea as well back in 60s. It's gone somewhere. So do you think enforcement through Pakistan Engineering Council or other associated industrial bodies could also be one of the solutions which could increase TVET and industrial linkages?
To answer your question, we did discuss corporate social responsibility and mechanisms of extending benefits to sort of trainees and, like I mentioned, teachers as well, occupational health and safety. The macro perspective that you draw from the Mahbubul Haq model is that industry, first of all, kind of puts in this request that please gear up your people for our requirements. That should be a starting point. It should not kind of be the other way around, that we open our doors, but that we need to have an intake which is competent, which is prudent in technology, that can handle and deal with our equipment, because there's a cost-effective, there's a cost issue as well. They don't want their expensive equipment to be exposed to all kinds of abuse. So I think it works both ways, but we did dilate on CSR, and we did dilate on the fact that there should be, the corporate sector should be more mindful of the fact that they need to keep their doors open and be more sort of benevolent towards the idea of bringing in internships and on-the-job training programs for trainees. Thank you.
This was the group. Could I say the group consisted of people who had interests in skills of people from Pakistan who were working outside, going to be working outside Pakistan, and groups of individuals who would have interest in people working in Pakistan. So we'll make that point first of all. So if we move on to the next slide. We were given the opportunity to explain for each of the countries what our practice and perspective was, and share that across the actual group. And I think that was very, very useful. But as I said, very quickly we established that there were different needs from those who were wishing people to work outside Pakistan and those who were wishing to have people work inside Pakistan. Next slide, please. So here are the recommendations from Group 3. This relates first point to those who from the Gulf states who are looking to recruit people from Pakistan to work there, and what needs to happen is staffing agencies and embassies need to be very much part of the process. So as the demand from the different countries is actually met for the right skilled people. There is a perception that the only individuals that Pakistan can provide is for the construction industry. And yet there are other opportunities for people from Pakistan to actually work in contracts. Thank you. The second point was a critical thing about liaising between training institutes and the industries. Now, you're very much setting in place the sector skills elements of the organisation at a national level, and also setting it at a regional level. But it is absolutely critical that the training institutions have a direct communication with industry and understand what industry locally needs, particularly for small and medium-sized businesses, and ensuring then that the skills that the Institute is actually giving are the skills that businesses really want. So point number 3 then. Across the board, both for working outside Pakistan and working inside Pakistan, the need for soft skills to be embedded into the curriculum and to be made mandatory part of training. For those working outside Pakistan, language skills, even rudimentary language skills, are very important. Critically, the attitude to work was important from those who were coming from an institute, training institute environment, and going into the real world of work, where things didn't stop at a certain time, jobs had to be finished and done. The attitude also to colleagues, coming to be able to understand people from different backgrounds and from different societies. The getting along in the environment too as well is also part of that, and also the learning of new skills as against the need. Now this again goes back to what does industry want, and then making sure that the institutes are providing the skills that industry actually needs, rather than a range of skills that perhaps isn't relevant at the time. Particularly that relates then to the quality element, because the quality needs to be aligned to what the actual job is. So the quality aspects of requirements in roads is very different from the finishing, the issues about quality and finishing off sort of a very expensive building or a very expensive facility. So making sure that the quality is there too as well. The next point 4, is about on-the-job training as part of the training process. Again, this was about that students needed to develop relevant skills and ideally do that by way of actually working on real-life projects. So going out again with these linkages to industry, finding out what projects that an industry might want done, and actually then having the students train on their learn by training and by doing project work to deliver on that. And then the final point I think was raised by Group 1, but the apprenticeship law now allows that when contracts are let, there should be a number of apprenticeships created, and I think that is a driver, particularly for government contracts, that can increase the number of apprenticeships. So I think that's the last slide. I think, Chair, that's Group 3's contribution. Do you want to ask for questions?
Yes.
Are there any questions from the foreign delegates?
Measure. What are the very practical steps that we can do to actually make them as I guess competences visible and actually train to them?
Okay, soft skills are what skills, particularly being able to work as a member of a team, being able to resolve conflict. If students are actually taught without actually having to work on real projects, they can't develop those skills because they aren't actually having to work together as a team to solve problems. Inevitably, when you're working as a member of a team, as you know, there are times when there are differences of opinion, you have to resolve conflict in order that the actual team gets an output. So projects are very important for developing those skills. Also too as well for the communication side and for the critical thinking side. So actually how you teach, how you actually train people needs actually not to be following, going down through a curriculum where you have a number of modules and all you're doing is you're ticking the boxes as you go down through. What you need to actually do is actually make sure that all of the modules are joined up and that the students then themselves understand the underlying principles but also then know how to actually apply those principles and how to solve problems whenever things aren't working as the way that they should do. Because when they get out into the real world, inevitably things will not work the way that it says in the textbook. And at that point in time, unless they've got experience of developing those soft skills, those enterprise skills, they won't have it. The final element of that also then happens is developing social skills. By doing this, they develop social skills, and this addresses what was also being said by our friends from the Gulf, where this is about attitude towards work, and also attitude towards others who are maybe coming from different cultures and different environments.
So let's go with the first one. I'll do the first part, and Fatma will do the recommendations part, which is the easiest one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries participated. Their contributions are here in front of us. All these situation analysis, we call it, these are overlapping to other countries, so we decided to put them in order instead of repeating them. Mandatory, basically, I'm going to try very hard not to jump on to the recommendation part, so I'm just going to say a little bit. It's very easy to jump. Mandatory, the qualifications, apprenticeships need to be mandatory. In some countries it is, in some countries it is not. Quality issues, we all know that any new initiative, the quality issues come into. Some countries manage it much better than the other countries. Industry reluctance is a very, very common issue with most of the countries, I think. It takes time for industry. Lack of incentive, I think we are thinking more about the incentive for employers to take on the apprentices and justify their time and resources for somebody who has no clue how the job works. Wages by industry, no wages. That again, in some countries there are wages, there are minimum wage limits for apprentices. In some countries they get full wages, so it varies. Exploitation issues, because we are talking about very young age, 16 plus, in some countries it's 15 plus. So it's that protection we are talking about in some countries. Assessment processes varies a lot. No written contracts. This is the important one, where there is no written contract, and we are talking about 3 types of contracts. Fatma is going to explain that. Minimum entry criteria, we believe for apprentices, we have somebody already mentioned the soft skills part, but this is separate than soft skills part. We are talking about even a level before that, where, let's say NVQ level 1, they need to have a minimum competency, if we can call it, in IT, maths, and the language, the country language, or internationally, we can all agree, English. Job spec, job description for the apprentices. Again, Fatma will explain. Qualification standards, unless we have the qualification standards, there is nobody's going to follow the process to the end certification. No link of institute with industry. That is, again, takes time for both to come to some middle ground and agree that they can work together, which is for mutual benefit. I'll pass on to Fatma for recommendations.
Thank you.
When there is any argument or discussion, any discussion between men and women, who wins? Men or women? Women. I'm not hearing enough voice saying women. Who wins? Now I can feel that there is somebody awake. That's why I asked this question. And apart of that, that's the reason they put me in the last for recommendation. So nobody will ask any question. Whatever I say, they will just say, yes, ma'am. That's the reason. So we will move on to the recommendations, whatever was discussed in our group. It was first thing, incentive to the trainee assessor or line manager. Everybody says something. Who will complete? Show me the... There is a very famous saying. I cannot hear. I cannot hear. Nobody knows here? Then whoever is working, they will not get the pay. Because in the end, you need to know that. Show me the money. That's the main thing everywhere you work. So if there is no incentive for line manager or whoever is going to take care of that person, boy or girl who is getting the training, nobody will pay much attention. And even for them to learn to be keen to learn what to do and how to improve their skills, they also should have some incentive in the end of the period. So that's the main point, that we need to have something which assure that there will be a win-win situation for the employee or whoever is going to take them or making the program for them, and the person, girl or boy, who is learning that. The second thing is apprenticeship, a part of the performance appraisal. Okay, that's come to the line manager mostly. Because as long it is a part of their scorecard that the better they train the boy or girl, the person who has come to get the training from them, they will not pay any attention. There will be, oh, who gives the time? I have a lot of time and I have a lot of things to do. I'm sitting here till late night. Come on. This is the youth. After 60, you will be sitting there at home, and these are the guys who will learn. They are the one who is the future of your country. So give them some training. So that's why in some companies, what they have done, that they have put it as a part of the line managers or the department heads' scorecard, that the more people they train, that the more points they get in their scorecard. Training cost sharing, now that's a good thing, that mostly the industry, they are the one who is sharing the cost, or they are trying to get somebody from outside, but there should be some relief why they should take that burden. In the end, it is show me the money. So everybody want to save their money. So that's why there should be some incentive for the industry, that if they are going to get, the more people they get for trainings and all this, they need to get some tax relief by the government, and they should have some incentive. JDs, I think that is mostly said earlier also, that JDs for appearances should be clear, that what they are going to come and learn, that and minimum standards should be there. Not everybody is coming and getting that chance, but no, there should be a minimum standard. They need to pass that standard. If they score well, then yes, the industry will take them for the program and they will develop them. And if they are not, then they can pass on to the institutions who will prepare them for the purpose. Then appearances progression roadmap. This is what every line manager will do whenever there is person coming. Before they even, usually it happens in some countries that before they even come to join them, there is a roadmap for the whole period, that what they will do and how they will do. Can we move on to the next one? Who's the one who's passing there? Okay. It's a proper tripartite contract should be there because it is between. What happened? Okay. There is a line manager. There is a person who is coming and getting the whole trainings, and then and the line manager. So these three people need to have a clear terms and conditions, and what are the other liabilities and rights for each party. Until unless this is not clear, nobody will work properly. See, the same thing, like some people who is going to have a marriage contract, and then the girl's family says, oh, there is a condition, you should give XYZ amount to my daughter per month as a pocket money. So in the same way, you need to have it here also. Trust building, both parties should have a trust on each other. The person who is getting the trainings and who is there, and they should trust that the next person is going to give me enough knowledge, and industry should have some trust on the person. So it is a trust among the whole team together. Effective implementation, so it is again the three people, industry, worker, and government. They need to work, actually it is a whole cycle, they need to work together. People are working, they get old, they go out, and there are new people coming in the industry. So it's the whole cycle need to be complete. Until unless there is all these three bodies get together, there will be always loopholes. So they need to be all three parties to implement, and nobody gets, honestly, until unless there is any law by the government, nobody, do their full efforts. When there is a law, so people try to follow that law. They are scared of penalties. That's why, maybe. Then quality assurance mechanism, as we said earlier, the roadmap should be there. As the roadmap should be there, there should be a quality assurance also that what they are getting in a proper way. That's the right skills they need to learn. And is it as per the standards it should be? You cannot just send the person saying, oh, okay, do the photocopy, do the filing. That's the basic things, and you ignore the more technical information. No, that quality should be there, that they need to get the proper technical information there, what are the skills, and as the roadmap was there, so it will show that how they are progressing there. Health, safety, and rights. Now the issue has come that maybe the apprentices will go and they will face some difficulties, that they will be overload, or there are laboral work will be given to them. So that assurance, if it is with them, it is with all the other staff. So it should be for all the staff, whoever is coming on board, either it is for the short term or for the long term, their health, safety and their rights should be secured. So that need to be, again I will go back to the contract, these things should be in the contracts. The last thing, assessment and certifications. The same applied for us, that when we will finish this ceremony, in the end we are getting certifications. There is a value for that piece of paper. So until unless the person the boy or girl, they get certificate, they will use it in the rest of their life. So they also need to be given that certification after definitely the assessment and their score, because that is very important for their future and their life. So that is the solution which was discussed and recommendations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Or assessment of the moderator. Those who think that the moderator of group 4, Raja Saad, is just average moderator, please raise your hands. I hope most of you would raise your hands. No. We have worked on them. And those who think he is very good moderator, please raise your hands. Oh, very good. Thank you. So we are over with this plenary sessions and the recommendations. All the moderators are requested to please share these recommendations with Director General P&D NAVTEC, Dr. Nasir Khan, because we would submit these recommendations to the government, to the policymakers, to the training providers, and to the industry also. These are very important recommendations. And I hope they would serve as guidelines for all the stakeholders. So thank you. Who is Vice President Tika, a very renowned organization which has its projects in more than 150 countries. So he is with us. Then Dr. Yong, who is Dean, Tianjin University of Technology, China, is also with us. And Dr. Ram Hari, who is Director General, CPSC. So we would like to be enlightened by the views of these three very senior people. I request them to please come on the stage. And now I ask Dr. Nasir Khan to please come and conduct the proceedings. They would conclude their remarks in 10 minutes. And after that, I've been asked by some delegates, foreign delegates, that they also want to express their views very briefly about their visit and about the conference. But one delegate from each country would be asked to come and very quickly express his or her views about his visit, about the country and the conference, but very quickly, in 1 or 1.5 minutes after this.
Three of our distinguished foreign delegates will be discussing the very important topic of maximizing regional and international cooperation for enhancing youth employability. First of all, may I request Dr. Birol Chetan, Vice President Tika, to please come and share his views with the delegates.
Kıymetli misafirler, hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum konuşmama başlamadan önce.
Distinguished guests, of course, I welcome you all and Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
İstika olarak 60 tane ofisimizle yıllık 2000 proje gerçekleştiriyoruz.
As a TICA office, we have 60 offices in different countries and on an average, we are doing 2000 projects per year.
Bu projelerimizden bazı örnekler yansıda görebilirsiniz.
You can as well see the few of our projects on the screen.
Tabii bugün özel bir gündemimiz var. Bu genç işsizliği, gençlerin iş bulabilmesi. Bunun üzerinde bir şeyler söylemek istiyorum.
Today is a special day because we will talk about the vocational training, so we will go on with that.
Bu alanda biz yüzlerce proje yaptık. Halen de yapıyoruz mesleki eğitim konusunda.
In vocational training in TVET sector, we have done many projects and still we are going on with these projects.
Bunları okulların desteklenmesi şeklinde, eğitim desteği şeklinde yapıyoruz. Hem fiziksel kapasitelerin artırılması hem de eğitim kalitelerinin artırılması noktasında projelerimiz var.
We are doing these projects with in-kind support of vocational training institutes and training of teachers and also with the infrastructure.
Pakistan'da da örnekleri var. Bir tekstil okulumuz var Lahor'da.
We also have example in Pakistan that we built a textile school in Lahore.
Tabii bunu devam ettireceğiz. İnşallah İslamabad'da da büyük bir projemiz var. Bugün Zülfikar Bey sağ olsunlar, onlarla detaylarını görüştük.
Inshallah, we will continue this support in Pakistan as we have discussed with Mr. Zulfikar today, and we will continue it in Islamabad as well.
Yalnız ben burada konuşulmayan bir konu üzerinde durmak istiyorum daha çok.
I would like to stay on a topic which is not very much discussed here in conference.
Benim alanım iktisat tarihi. İktisat tarihi profesörüyüm.
I'm a professor of economics.
Economic history. History of economics.
History. Economics and history.
Birçok ülkede şöyle bir şeyle karşılaştık. Eğittiğimiz elemanlar daha gelişmiş zengin ülkelere, kuzey ülkeleri diyoruz. Oraya göç ediyorlar. İş bulmak için kendi ülkelerini terk edip gelişmiş ülkelere bu profesyonelliği aldıktan sonra oraları tercih ediyorlar.
We have faced a problem in many of the countries where we teach the skills to the poorest of the nation, but they went to other developed countries from there.
Yani bunu ben sorun olarak görüyorum. Ne kadar fazla profesyonelleşirse kendi alanında daha gelişmiş ülkeleri insanlar tercih ediyorlar.
I see it as a problem in such countries that after getting training they move to other developed countries.
Bir başka konuda tarım sektöründe aynı şey söz konusu.
The other one is in the agriculture field.
Burada da gençler özellikle çok büyük iş imkanları olmasına rağmen tarım alanında çalışmak istemiyorlar maalesef.
Even the youngers have much more opportunity to work in that field. They don't want to work in agriculture field.
Bununla ilişkin Balkanlarda birçok proje gerçekleştirdim. Bizzat ben projelerde yer aldım.
With this relevancy, we have done many projects in Balkan countries.
Yani uzun yıllar eğitim verdiğimiz gerçekten yatırım yaptığımız gençler ülkelerinde kalmadılar.
In Balkan countries as well, we trained many of the students and many of the youngers there in that country, but they moved to other developed countries.
Burada bu mesleki eğitimle beraber bence yapmamız gereken girişimcilik eğitimini de bu gençlere çok iyi bir şekilde vermek.
Here we should also look into this problem as well. With the training of TVET, we also train them to work in their professional field.
Çünkü böylelikle kendi işlerini de kurabilirler, kendileri de girişimci olabilirler.
In this way they can start their own business as well.
Bunu da teşvik etmemiz lazım diye düşünüyorum.
So we have to find how we can do this.
Tabii taleple alakalı bir şey. Bu eğitimler biz burada planlıyoruz kendimiz. Fakat gençleri de bu süreçlere katmak lazım. Onların da fikirlerini sürekli almak lazım. Eğitimleri planlarken.
It's all a demand driven training. We should also provoke the students to the field as well.
Biz buradan tablolar yapıyoruz. Programlarımızı açıklıyoruz. İşte endüstri işbirliği diyoruz. Fakat gençlere sormuyoruz bu programları şekillendirirken.
We are doing we are making curriculums, we are doing tables and we are making programs for them, but we never ask to the young generation how they want to do this.
Ya bugün imaj çok önemli gençler için. Kendi meslekleri, kariyerleri, toplumdaki itibarları bunları daha çok önemsiyorlar.
This image is very important for them because they are very giving priority to their professional field.
Ya toplumdaki o mesleğin algısı, mesela teknisyen diyelim elektrik tamircisi, toplum o mesleğe nasıl bakıyor, itibarlı mı? Toplumun bakışı çok önemli gençler açısından.
How does the society look to them? It's very important.
Yani bu mesleği kimliği oluyor aynı zamanda.
Because it will be their identity.
Bir de yine bu ara meslekler için şöyle bir şey de söylemek isterim. Ara meslekler yani tekniker, teknisyen bu meslekler için.
And also for this technical trainings, I would like to say something.
Şimdi internet kullanımının yaygınlaşmasıyla beraber artık insanlar yapacakları tamirat işlerini internet üzerinden yapmaya başladılar. Bu iyi bir gelişme.
Like as we have technology advancement like internet and everyone has access to them, so those students also trying to manage things and try to learn technical trainings from there, it's a good thing.
Şöyle uygulamalar var. Bir tamirat, evde bir cihazınız bozulduğu zaman ya da bir ustaya ihtiyaç duyduğunuz zaman
Like if they want to repair something, they can consult with internet.
hemen internetten ustaları, yüzlerce ustaya ulaşabiliyorsunuz. Mekanik.
They can search many of the trainers on the internet.
Ve bir mesajla ya da telefonla o hizmet ayağınıza geliyor.
And also with the emails and messages, they can get those information from internet.
Nasıl malları sipariş edebiliyorsak internet üzerinden, artık hizmetleri de internet üzerinden yapabiliyoruz.
As they can sell and purchase things from internet, so they can get trainings also from there.
Ve bu yolla büyük bir talep oluşabilir. Bu büyük bir açılım sağlayabilir. Bu ara işleri yapan insanlar için güzel bir olanak. Dükkan açmadan çoğu, dükkanı olmadan evden kendi işini takip edebilir.
In this way, they can also learn many of the things which is not available normally in the market. They can, without opening their workshop or a shop, they can learn many of the things and can do their business.
Dolayısıyla bu tür uygulamaların da teşvik edilmesini ben faydalı olacağını düşünüyorum.
And I'm thinking that this kind of intervention can help us a lot.
Son olarak da yine şunu söylemek istiyorum. Bu tür eğitim programlarında gençlerin daha fazla fikirlerinin alınması kanaatindeyim. Onların sürece katılması bakımından.
In the last, I would like to say that we should also take the youth in this program as well, and to ask themselves how to do this.
Teşekkür ederim dinlediğiniz için.
Thank you very
Sabrınızdan dolayı. Hepinizi selamlıyorum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Berol Chetan, for sharing your valued views with the participants of the conference. May I now request Mr. Zhang Yuan, Dean, Tianjin University of Technical Education, China, to please come on the rostrum and share your valued views with the participants.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 下面请允许请求我的同事Professor 陈是世界技能大赛的专家帮助我们一起分享中国职业教育发展改革的经验。
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. So I would like to be, I'm honored to say to my colleague, Professor Zhang, because for him a little bit challenge for him, the director speaking English. So I help him for interpretation. And for us this afternoon, I would like to share some our experience about China TVET reforming and some developments.
众所周知呢，职业呢是人类社会社会分工的产物。
Okay, as you may know, your so-called professional, even TVET is just along with the development of the occupation and the professionals development is one kind of the product with that.
人类的社会职业是伴随着人类的生产和生活的变革而发生着变化。
Okay, so for TVET, its role has been changing. The change is along with the development and also transition of the occupations and the professionals.
那么职业教育呢，是人类社会经济发展最贴切的教育类型之一。
Okay, so for TVET is one kind of immediately just we contribute for the development and also the social economic development, the one of the vital and essential things TVET.
人类社会的职业发展快速的发展时期，实际上是近200年。
So as you might know, for our opinion, in recent 200 years, I think there's a rapid pace of the human society development in recent 200 years.
职业的从业方式是随着生产力、生产技术，特别是科学技术的发展而不断变化的。
So the productivity is a role, and for the implementation is changing according to the technology, the skills. It's changing along with them.
所以，职业教育与企业的发展是息息相关的。
So we can conclude that is all the evidence suggests that. So TVET is in very close relationship with the industry or enterprises.
中国政府呢，从改革开放40多年，非常重视职业教育的发展。
Since the openness and the reform from Chinese government in the recent 40 years, the Chinese government attached a great importance to the TVET.
那么，通过近半个世纪的发展，中国的职业教育探索出一条产教融合、校企合作的发展模式。
Okay, so within the 40 years, the struggling or maybe the fighting of course, and we explore, we try to find a way how about industry education integration and college or maybe schools, enterprises, corporation. We find our own way to do that.
或许这种改革的经验会对巴基斯坦的职业教育人才培养提供可供借鉴的经验。
Okay, hopefully I like to share our such kind of experience. I would like to bring you some might be the benchmark or maybe some highlights or maybe some hints for you.
那么国家在不同的历史时期出台适应经济社会发展的职业教育的政策和法规。
Okay, so in the different kind of period of development, so nationally we are just give some the strategy, maybe some rules, maybe some regulations, try to regulate the development and the process of activity.
那么近年来，无论从国家的人力资源管理部门还是教育部门，均出台了促进产教融合、校企合作的政策和文件。
Okay, so as you might know, for China there are two ministries in charge of the TVET. One is from the Ministry of Education, and another is Ministry of the Human Resource and Social Security. So in the both ministry, they try to issue some rules and some documents, especially try to facilitate all the process of TVET.
那么目前，中国的职业教育是世界上规模最大的国家之一。
Okay, so as you might know, China only has the biggest TVET system in the world so far.
那么中国的人力资源管理呢，实际上是两大体系，一个呢是由我们人力资源和社会保障部门所管理的技能人才的培养培训体系，另一类是由教育部门来管理的职业教育的人才培养体系。
Okay, so as you might know, the TVET system generally we can conclude into two parts. For as you might see from PPT, from left side, this one is on the Ministry of Education. We call the name vocational training, TVET vocational training. On my right part is on the Ministry of Human Resource and Social Security. We call the name is vocational school education. So there's a little bit complicated.
那么目前中国的职业教育在校生的人数呢，已经达到了3000万人。
Okay, so so far for whole volume of the TVET, the students I think for now is reaching into 30 million students TVET.
人力资源管理部门出台了以企业为主导这样的一种深化产教融合、校企合作的顶层的制度设计。
Okay, so for now I think it's even for the both ministries, I think they are just issued such kind of guideline. Just we put much emphasis on the leading oriented by the need demand from industry, and so for TVET, the institute or maybe some other training will be just cooperate with them to do that.
教育部门提出要构建现代职业教育体系。
So even for educational the institutes, they just says that we have to set up a modern TVET system.
所谓现代职业教育体系，既是从中等职业教育、高等职业教育应用技术 大学的教育，以及到专业硕士的教育，一个人才贯通的培养体系。
Okay, so for the vocational school, I think there's a pathway. It just from primary TVET and come to the secondary TVET. And after that, we become another one, so vocational college. And even after that, now we have the applied science university. So even after that, we have the MSc, master degree, and also some even PhD will be involved. So from that, we establish from the bottom to the top, the pathway has been built like this.
无论是人力资源管理部门还是教育部门，均提出要建立现代学徒制度。
And another is for us, even Ministry of Education and Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, both ministries they emphasize that modern apprenticeship system for now is vital and important for us.
从某种意义上来讲，现在政府提出的产教融合、校企合作的职教人才培养模式，是在我们人力资源管理部门长期的对技能人才培养的实践经验基础上形成的。
Okay, so even based on our implementation and for facilitating and regulation for the cultivate of the TVET, the skilled personnel. So for now, we have some rules and regulation, especially to meet the needs, and it's generated from the practice. It's done by Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security.
所以，广义的职业教育的发展既包括我们人力资源管理部门的职业培训，也包括我们教育部门的职业教育。
So, as you might know, TVET, in general, TVET embraces both educational and also from human resources. The two sides will be included. It likes a package overall plan.
校企合作的核心是企业主导。
Okay, so I think the first and most for TVET the collaboration or cooperation between colleges, TV college and industry. I think there's most and first is the industry needs or demands from the enterprises.
因为企业的需求是职业教育发展的动力。
Okay, as you might know, there's a need, so there be something which just to meet the need.
那么，中国的职业教育的改革实践经验证明呢，要实施产教融合、校企合作，关键呢有以下几个重要的环节。
Okay, and for our experience, so there are some key points to be made, especially for the working cooperation with industry and colleges.
那么，首先呢是实训基地的建设。
Okay, and the first one is the training base. The training base that
实训基地的建设，它包括校内的和校外的两种类型。
Okay, there's two kinds of training base. One is external, another one is internal, in the college or outside the college.
无论哪一种类型，最终都是真实的让学生提高他的职业能力。
Okay, so even an internal or external, but I think that our target is to bring the real scenario, real environment to the trainees.
那么第二种就是课程建设。
And another is another very important issue is curriculum development.
课程建设必须要有企业参加。
So for the curriculum development, it should be the oriented and it should be participating some the stakeholders, especially from industry.
第三就是师资队伍建设。
And another is teaching personal training.
师资队伍建设核心就是培养我们称之为双师型一体化的职教师资。
Okay, so for our goal is just to try to bring competencies to be the two capacities in theoretical, in both theoretical and practical and also in the integration of the competencies for the teaching staff.
我们学校就是由政府主办的培养职业教育师资的大学。
As you might know, for our university, University of Technology and Education is the only university who just in charge of the providing training to the TVET instructors.
去年，国务院总理李克强到学校视察，把学校称之为培养工匠之师的大学。
Okay, so even last year, His Excellency Prime Minister Li Keqiang visits our university. He just called us it's a university to cultivate the teacher of the classroom.
要想培养高素质的技能型人才，教师的职业能力、教师的职业技能必须达到高水平。
So for the skilled personnel of the training, but the trainer of them, that is the trainer of the trainer, some the personal competencies and his general qualities is vital and essential.
我们学校一体化支教师资的培养已经获得了2次国家教学成果1等奖。那么今年呢，正在申报第3次国家教学成果1等奖。
Okay, for our academic or maybe just training achievements, for now we have won the 2 times the national teaching achievement the prize. So we have won 2 times, and then for now we are just on process in application for 3rd times.
我们近10几年与国际上很多的国家和地区开展了职业教育的合作。
Okay. And for us, recently we have to break the relationship and work in collaboration with some other international institutes, international bodies.
我们为非洲和南亚的许多国家开展了职业教育的专题培训。
And we have a lot some especially training the training station for the trainees from Africa, trainees from Asia countries.
我们在埃塞俄比亚援建了职业技术学院。
So, for example, we try to assist and establish the first TVET Polytechnic College in Ethiopia, the capital city, Addis Ababa.
去年我们在巴基斯坦旁遮普方也建立了一所应用技术大学。
Okay, even for last year, as you might know, in the province of the Punjab, there will be Punjab changing. Maybe the name Applied Science University has been established last year.
另一个援建项目呢，就是要援建一个国家工程实训中心，这个项目正在进行当中。
And another project is on the process on the discussion is the TVET, the Training Center of Excellence, but for now it's under discussion.
就中国的职业教育的改革发展经验，希望能够对巴基斯坦执教人才的培养呢，能够提供宝贵的经验。
Okay, so we do hope our experience about the struggle fightings and also we have overcome to help Pakistan to just facilitate and just try to help you rapidly the development of the TVET.
巴基斯坦呢正在开展一系列的工业化建设，那么中国呢也将为工业化建设所需要的执教人才的培养提供我们的支持和帮助。
And for as I know for Pakistan for now we are just under very tough work for the development of the economy, some manufacturing and so on. And for us we will try everything and anything we can do to help you to do this.
也希望呢，跟在座的各个国家的这个专家们一起能够帮助巴基斯坦的职业教育的发展。
And also I like to agree that's the reason we are here. We do hope some delegates from the foreign countries just to participate, try to be involved, engaging with the TVET development in the Pakistan.
Presidency for the closing ceremony. I request Dr. Ramhari to please quickly share with us his views on the topic.
I am last speaker, that's why I don't think I have to say much because everything is covered. This is the benefit for the last speaker. Anyway, I'm going to talk about fostering 21st century skills. We discussed a lot, and you know my organization, Colombo Plan Staff College, is the intergovernmental organization in Philippines, Manila, and we do teacher training program, professional development program for TVET managers, workers, you know, so related to TVET professionals. So that's why we can work together. If you want to know about detail, and we do institutional accreditation, international accreditation also. Like this morning you visited the Construction Technology Institute, that is also one of the OPAC accredited institute. So in Pakistan, you can do other institution as well. As saying, you know, the education is key to development and TVET is the master key. So no need to explain about this. I'll not mention this about challenge. Because of time pressure, I have to finish according to our moderator within 5 minutes. So I'll say, what is TVET? We discussed a lot about TVET. TVET is nothing new. TVET is 3 years. That is, TVET is combination of 3 years. One is hands-on skills. Second one is heads-on skills. And third one is hearts-on skills. So it covers all. That learning domain, cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. So like soft skills, social skills, whatever we say, that is called hearts-on skills. So these 3 years, if in our curricula it is covered, that only we can say competency-based TVET. Otherwise, that is not competency-based, just training for training. And these are the common challenges we discussed. Mismatch between demand and supply. Fast changing of pattern of the labor market. It is very fast. And sustainable financing is another, you know, challenge for the TVET institutions and the TVET program in developing countries. Social recognition is the another challenge. We heard a lot in 3 days. Regarding the, you know, if you see this figure, talent shortage survey, in the, you know, Asia and the Pacific region, there is a difficulty in the fulfilling the vacancies position. It means industry people are not getting right persons. They are always worried to get the competent workers. That is the blue color represent the old global, you know, scenario, and the yellow covers the Asia Pacific region. That is the situation. So we have to manage that, you know, issues. Another is changing economic structure by share of employment. If you see the developed economies like EU and the, you know, the Southeast Asia and the Pacific, is still in Southeast Asia and Pacific, dominant sector is agriculture. But if you see the developed economy, service sector and non-routine work are there, like designing, innovation things. So this is the pattern of the labor market. That's why to address the pattern of labor market, we have to produce our graduates and we have to develop course accordingly. Otherwise, there will be big mismatch again. Similarly, if you see the global sector of the growth in selected industries like 2010 to 2019, this is the situation. 2019, the real estate business and administrative activities are the booming. The real estate everywhere. If you go every city, there is a high real estate things and construct service sector. So we have to address that part of the people also. We have to develop logistic technicians, logistic workers, all sort of things, not only, you know, plumbing and electrician. If you see this figure, employment by type of occupations, like non-routine manual occupations are, you know, in the decreasing stage in North Africa and other things, but like non-routine cognitive occupations are increasing. So that's the situation. So like innovations, design, middle and higher level competencies are demanded. That is the global trend. And if you see this figure, I will summarize by this one. The Pakistan also the labor surplus country. The green circle is the labor surplus country, means the demographic dividend, high youth populations. And the country having the yellow circle is the workforce deficit country, like Europe and other developed countries. So this is a global trend. So we cannot stop to migrate workforce, labor, or let's say skilled persons, because the one country has surplus, another country is seeking the same conditions. So that is the global scenario. And based on this, even we need 3.5 billion people by 2030, high skill, medium and skill workforce, according to this study. And 1.1 billion non-farm jobs are created, means from agriculture sectors, more 1.1 billion new jobs are created in the economy. So this is the scenario. I'm not going to explain it. If you want to see, this is the McKinsey Global Institute research report. And I'm not showing this video. So based on this, essential skill for 21st century is, we discussed a lot. Collaboration and teamwork. Our TVET graduates should have a competency of collaboration and teamwork. That's why we have to put these competencies in our curricula. Similarly, creativity and imagination, critical thinking, problem solving, flexibility and adaptability, global and cultural awareness. This is very important, especially for foreign workers. The workers going to Middle East, they should know the culture and the global things of the Middle East. Similarly, information literacy. This is very important. Leadership, civic literacy and citizenship, oral and written communication skills, social responsibility and ethics, technology literacy and initiatives. So these are the competencies we have to address in our TVET curricula. So regarding 21st century skills, the presentation you will get in website, so I am not good because of time pressure. So these are the things, core subjects and 21st century themes. Learning and innovation skills, we have to add this component. Information media and technology skills. This is a very interesting figure of the CPSC member countries. We talk about technology and the global and competent workforce. So how much we are providing internet facility to our citizens? That is the very important. If you see in this region, Malaysia, Maldives, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand are bit ahead. If you see the figure of Nepal, Pakistan, like Papua New Guinea, very low. 13 to 20% of the internet access. Then how can we produce, globally competitive workforce? This is very important figure. Okay, so life and career skills, we have to teach them. So this is also, I'm not going to tell. Therefore, skills needed for graduates to meet standard performance level is core technical skills. We have to give this component in our curricula. Another is entrepreneurial or soft skill. So this is the main thing we have to consider. If you see this one, like knowledge, skills, attitude, this is the basic competency we have to deliver. Then person should be with abilities. Do they have ability to do that job or not? Then personality traits is another important element we have to inbuilt in our graduates. Then only we can say competencies. Otherwise, if you deliver just skills and knowledge, that is not competencies. Therefore, skills we impart to the graduates in 21st century that must prepare for marketability, employability and readiness for citizenship. Having technical, digital, entrepreneurial and social skill. Thank you very much. I'll not tell, thank you.
We have really been enlightened and educated by very educative talks all the three gentlemen. I must share with you, and I must acknowledge that the teams of NAFTEC as well as GIZ, they worked day and night. They worked with zeal and passion to make this conference a success. So a big hand for the teams of NAFTEC and GIZ. All DGs of NAFTEC who worked very hard. Mr. Zubair Hashmi, Dr. Nasir Khan, Muqimul Islam, Mr. Naim Siddiqui, Mr. Mansoor, our directors, Mr. Gondal, and their Mr. Abbasi, and their entire team, Mr. Fareed and their entire team, a big clap. And from GIZ, Mr. Hans, Mr. Rajasad, and a special clap for Sonia and Adil. A big clap for Sonia. Now, before we depart for the presidency, for the concluding ceremony, I would call upon one by one the foreign delegates, few foreign delegates to express their views. First of all, I would request Ms. Nilanthi Sagata Dasa, who is Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Education of Sri Lanka, to come and conclude her remarks very quickly, please.
Good evening, everyone. I will express my views very briefly. If you take the topics of the program, they were very relevant, which covered, I believe, the entire TVET sector, which are relevant to all the countries. And I observe that it is really an experience sharing education type of a program. So I am very much thankful to the organizers for selecting these relevant topics. Number two is the resource persons were very good. Actually, they were very well-read, learned persons, and it was a good mix from different parts of the world. Number two is the institutional visits we made to this morning were very impressive, and they were very productive because we learned a lot from them. We saw that their commitment, the heads of the institutions and the instructors and even the students, they were very committed, and that is the success behind that, their success. I mean, that is the success behind that is the reason behind their success, I think. And but I feel that it would have been much better if we were given a little time to ask questions and make some clarifications after each session as planned. In the program, of course, there was a time allocated, but due to lack of time constraint, yes, we were not being able to ask questions. But in the future, of course, yes, when we will make such consent. And also, thank you very much for the city tour. And on top of all, the excellent hospitality from the day we arrived at the airport up to the end of the program, the hospitality we got from the organizers and all the other Pakistani people, I really do appreciate it. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Industrialists, resource persons, officials of NAFTEC, representative media, ladies and gentlemen, I will take 1 minute only. So first of all, I congratulate NAFTEC for such arrangement, timely conference, and I think it was a fruitful and amazing time, and definitely that conference was successful. So let me share a motto of Bangladesh. So Bangladesh motto is the education is the priority of Bangladesh, but TVET is the priority of the priorities of the Bangladesh. So last thing I shared one thing is that in July 2017, Bangladesh and CPSC jointly organized a conference on the skills for the future world of work and TVET for the global competitiveness. I was the member secretary of the conference. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh was inaugurated the ceremony, opening ceremony. However, just we produced a report on the conference, and government will take the report as the master instrument for TVET policy. So I recommend to the organizer to produce a conference report including the presented paper and the recommendation, all things we happened in this room. I recommend to the organizer to produce a conference report so that government and others participants will take it as a very important documents. So time is short, so I'm not taking more time. Finally, I congratulate NAPTEC for such arrangement, and the hospitality was the amazed. Just I used the one word that I was amazed the hospitality. I know the Pakistani people are doing very good in hospitality. So I congratulate and thank you all of you. And so no more time. So finally I thanks on the dynamic leadership of the executive director of NAPTEC. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation offered to me to come to this important conference. This is my second time in Pakistan, my second lot of dealings, or my third lot of dealings with NAVTEC, actually. And so I sit here at the end of this conference in awe of the enthusiasm and zeal of the staff and the vision that you are painting for the role that TVET can play for Pakistan in the future. The thing that bears in the front of my mind is you are here looking at changing lives that'll change families, that'll change communities, and will grow your country. Thank you.